Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with Jay Unboxing here, giving you a personal prediction for the rematch between Kid Galahad and Jazza Dickens. And as always, this is just my take. Your prediction can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear them all. Give you a little bit of fight info here. We have Kid Galahad versus Jazza Dickens 2. This is a rematch. It's going to be taking place for the vacant IBF Featherweight title. And of course, this is a Matchroom Fight Camp Series fight that is taking place in Essex in their headquarters location, airing on DAZN. And it's a very good rematch between two featherweights that put on a good fight back in 2003 when that was for the British title, now with a world title on the line. Both fighters have gotten better, and with more on the line, this should be an even better contest. Galahad, who stopped Dickens in the first go-around in the 10th frame, is the slight favorite, as he should be, but it's a close one and a good fight for sure. So let's kind of get into the breakdown here of this fight camp main event and see what we have here. Starting with Dickens here. For Dickens to win, I think he needs to land those straight shots to the body. Dickens throws really well to the body, either with the jab or the straight left hand. He can find his range pretty well and pretty quickly with those shots. And aside from scoring points and possibly taking some wind out of the Galahad sails, it does a couple of other things. It lowers the guard of Galahad and also crouches him over a bit more. This makes him easier to hit, especially with the uppercut, which Dickens has a pretty decent one, but also just, again, is going to allow for him to score more shots later on if it is tiring his man, and it just makes it the overall offensive assault of Jazza a lot easier to kind of imprint on the fight. I would also say the pullback left hand could work well when Galahad is a lefty. And in some ways this fight is going to be a battle of left hands, and it makes sense seeing as how Dickens is a southpaw and Galahad is a switch hitter. Still, the type of left hand each will look to land is going to be a bit different. For Dickens, it's the pullback left hand, waiting for Galahad to miss, pulling back so that he does so, and then coming over the top for Dickens could really be a solid scoring shot that then allows Dickens to step in a bit more and let his hands go, which is ultimately what he's looking to do offensively. Finally, I would say don't allow yourself to square up too much. Where Dickens got into trouble in the first encounter was lining his feet up side by side and getting too squared up, making himself too big, leaving himself open to be hit far too much. While Jazza may never have the best footwork in the sport, he does need to be more mindful of that in this encounter. Step to the outside with the lead foot. Kind of angle yourself a little bit differently. Land to the body, use that jab, that left hand. Just keep yourself in a more defensively responsible position without having to square up to get your offense going. That's going to be key for Jazza if he wants to have more success now than he did in their first encounter. Switching over to Kid Galahad here, I think for Galahad to win, he needs to press his man back against the ropes. Dickens doesn't fight nearly as well when he's backing up, and Galahad can actually free himself up to be more effective offensively when he's pushing his man back. Those two combined reasons alone make it all the more sensible for Galahad to stay strong on the inside, press his man onto the back foot, and keep him there with pressure and busy hands. Doesn't have to be every second of every round, but he has to be consistent with it so that he can have an even better performance than he did in their first fight. I would also say time the left hand over Jazza's left hand. As mentioned for Dickens, I think the winner of the battle of left hands probably wins the fight. While Dickens wants to pull back with his left hand and counter over the top of it, I think Galahad needs a speedy 1-2 or even a quick lead left hand when in southpaw position to get things going. Once Dickens begins trying to counter that, Galahad can then even have more success feinting or only kind of half throwing that left, getting his man to bite, and then dropping the real left hand over the top of it to really have the most impact with that shot. And finally for Galahad, I would say don't back up in straight lines. While Galahad will want to back Dickens up as much as reasonably possible to assume, he's going to back up at times because that's just his style. Nothing wrong with that. However, he needs to make sure that he tries to eliminate those straight lines as he backs up. Step to the side, circle, pivot one way or the other. Just get Dickens out of position. This makes Jazza more likely to miss and lets Galahad get a few more openings to land some of his shots. But most importantly, it keeps Galahad from getting caught backing up and really doubling the sort of visual impact of those shots. Now getting to my pick here, I think the rule of thumb for rematches is pretty simple. Same result, only quicker. Well, that's not always true. I do see some semblance of truth in that for this fight, to some extent. While it's true Dickens has gotten better since their first encounter, I would argue Galahad as well, and both have progressed well in terms of opponents and just how overall they've done. So I can't really envision a wildly different fight. Dickens will have his moments and may start out a bit better. I think he'll start a little faster, but I do think Galahad grabs hold of the fight around the fourth or fifth and begins to dominate the action a bit more, especially as the fight wears on. He'll ultimately walk Dickens into another left hand that, like in the first fight, drops him hard. Dickens may have a bit more seasoning now to be able to survive that and even last out the fight, but I'm willing to go on a little bit of a limb here and say that Galahad once again stops Dickens late. Galahad via late stoppage. Now, the betting odds for this encounter have Galahad, like I said, as a pretty sizable favorite, almost over a 3-1 at minus 320, with Dickens at a plus 230. If you like the improvement of Dickens, that's not a bad bet at all, especially just to have a kind of small bet on there, kind of keep the fight entertaining for you, even a small to mid bet for that matter. Even being confident in Galahad, I think that's just a little too rich for my blood. I don't see a great deal of value there. If you can find a good over under, maybe at around like an 8 or a 9. Going over there would be great. If you can pick just a stoppage win for Galahad, I would potentially encourage something like that for myself because I do think that's a possibility. But in terms of just straight up bets, I mean, I think the value is kind of, for the most part, where it should be. And so you're not getting too great a deal either way. In any event, my prediction record going into the weekend is 23-7-3 with 9 exact. And let me know what you guys think. What do you think of the fight? What do you think of the first fight? And how do you see this one going? We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Let me know your picks, any kind of predictions, bets you guys got going on, so on and so forth. We'd love to hear those there. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow at jcaldwell_JOB on Twitter. You can email me at jonboxing@gmail.com. Love to hear from you there. Also, be sure to check out jonboxing.com for a very updated schedule, including betting odds, results, rankings, all that good stuff. And as always, until next time.